Yeah, we here with Virginia Rawlins, right?
Yep, Rawlins.
Rawlins, Virginia Rawlins. We're gonna speak about some real estate. She's doing a lot. She's doing she's doing right now. She's doing the first home buyer seminar coming up next month, right?
Yep.
She's doing what else? Building block fund.
Yeah.
She got the real estate going on.
Yeah, I just launched the building blocks fund.
You got so much going on. It's hard
Yeah,
to
we
keep
got
up.
a couple
Yeah.
things to talk about.
Yeah,
so
definitely, I believe this podcast is called Solutions. So we're gonna be talking about solutions to systematic racism, redlining. Cause I heard about that through Earth. He came and gave an interview with redlining properties. And pretty much how can we obtain some of these properties in these communities that we're in, right? So, if you want to introduce yourself to the people more, let people know more about you that I haven't, brushed up on, whatever the case is.
So I'm Virginia Rawlins, owner of Building Blocks, Bronx native, just visiting Albany, but it has become my community, so it's a pleasure for me to serve it.
Okay, likewise, I'm a Bronx native as well. I've been to Albany for years, but my hometown, I'm still good back home.
Yeah,
I still visit back home. Yeah. So so like I said, we had a conversation, me and the brother Irv, and he was telling me that y'all was once a part of the land bank, which I went through a couple of times, and I tried to obtain some properties. I put up the application, I did the whole spill, the whole resume. I put everything in there, told them what I wanted to do with the properties, and they pretty much didn't approve of me. They said that last property, they said I wasn't in closer proximity of getting the property. So I said, wow, this is crazy. So I felt some type of way. I said, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy. So I just want to know, pretty much, like I wanted to know, like, what made you fall back from the land bank, and what was your position in the land bank when you were there?
So while I was at the land bank, I was the housing services counselor.
Okay.
Basically, I was processing the applications, meeting with the people, trying to get them, link them with funding.
Okay.
And that was like, my primary role. But then I also took on kind of like the community engagement arm, which for me was really important because they own so much real estate. It's not the city of Albany. I don't know if people realize, but they own property in the whole county. Okay. Right? So it was important for me, especially, the focus neighborhoods, Arbor Hill, West Hill, Sheridan Hollow, for those people, black people, our people, to know that this opportunity is here. And I think, unfortunately, the way the properties were being disposed of, people like you, they would tell you you're not close enough. And then somebody would be next door, and then they would find another reason. And then the sky is green.
So that's been going on. That's been going on.
Yeah. So that has been going on for a while. And I don't know if it's on purpose or by accident. I think sometimes you just get caught up, and not for nothing. The black applicants, black and brown applicants, they tend to have lower, funding. So.
Because some people make it through. I've seen a couple people like, no, they got me through.
Yeah.
And I've been in situations where I've been part of unions, construction unions, and they got like a percentage they have to let through just because they have to say that I hired some African Americans. I got a black friend. You know what I'm saying? So it's
so I mean, like for me personally, I know some people came through the first time, I processed the application. When the decisions was made, they didn't end up with the property. But so what I would do is basically like, look, this is where you went wrong. This is what you need to fix. This is basically what they're looking for. Like I kind of like fed them kind of, the script, so to speak.
Okay.
And then I did get a couple people through, but I think the land bank, just generally speaking, does have a little bit more flexibility in disposing of these properties. So the vacant lots that nobody wants, it's like my whole thing was, why are you sitting on these lots? Even if they want to do a garden, they want to do a parking lot, they want to maintain just as green space, just to have a space to chill. Like,
because they are stores when you ride through the block and you ride through the city, you're just seeing vacant properties just sitting there.
And then for me too, why not give somebody who's typically accustomed to renting, their parents probably or renters, once they get that ownership of this piece of property, undoubtedly, I think people would just keep going forward.
Absolutely.
You know, you get a little lot, do something little with it, then, you know, move on to the house. And then again, it is important that they are countywide because they have larger lots where you could actually get, you know, pre-model house delivered to the space or build your own house up. Yeah.
So I know that.
So they do have larger, you know, larger parcels, which again is why it's important that we are having access to these properties because that's wealth.
Right. And this is it true? And I heard that they've been here since what, 2014, 15?
Yeah, so they've been around for a little while.
6 years now.
Yeah, they've been around for a little while.
And people, we still don't know. Like a lot of us still don't know, like what like their hair or what they offer, right?
Right. So I think with me leaving, unfortunately, there was a gap in the community engagement. Because for me, I saw it as an opportunity. Like, these are my people. Like, I feel comfortable. Like, I don't mind going to Arbor Hill West. What's up? Have, you know, good afternoon. Sell us a property. Like, here's an opportunity. And then more than that, I had a couple conversations with people. Like, you know, you got young boys out here on these corners. Buy a property. Give them a hammer. Give them some screws. Take them off the street. And now they have pride in the property that they rehab. I think your attitude is going to switch a little bit when, you know, it's your property. You're not going to want to have that activity in front of your property. You're going to say, yo, take that down the block.
Absolutely. I agree.
It's just, you know, just that one piece of property could really change the trajectory. If you get a 2-unit, now you have second income. Like I said, you create economic development. You're giving jobs to people. So I do think it's unfortunate that they have been disposing of the properties in the way that they have. But I will admit, I'm currently sitting on a subcommittee for them. They are trying to look at in what ways, what powers they currently have to basically get properties into our hands. Whether that's lowering the prices, stabilizations, getting financing from outside. So I do expect, and I you know, I'm holding them to it to make sure that we get some of these properties.
Right, because accountability is big. And I actually did a podcast before with Peter Chafin. He has financial impact. It's like pretty much it's a group where they get funding for big projects. And Adam came on the show. You know, Peter hired me to do the podcast for him, right?
Oh, okay.
And he said out of his own mouth, like, you know, I want to give these properties back to the community so they could build up. So it's like, when I we bumped into each other when I put the application in for the other property, for the last property I rented. Bumped into each other. I said, yeah, remember me? Oh, yeah. So, you know, when they still felt, I'm just like, wow, like, you know, I'm like, you know, like, it was like.
You know, I'll just say, when you meet somebody in a particular space, they have to know you almost, right? And then you'll see them again, and then they're like, I remember. But in terms of him remembering you, in terms of him, doesn't necessarily translate like that he's going to be advocating for you at the table with the board of directors saying, we need to get him a property, we need to get these properties specifically back into the community hands. So I think it was important to have people like me, people like Irv, at the land bank, who's at the table where they're making these decisions, because you know, there's mostly white faces at these tables, and so most times, even still, I go into the room. I'm at Capitalize Albany right now. Only black person on staff. And now we're talking about commercial real estate.
So Capitalize Albany, is that the program that has the the map for the developments in the city and stuff like that?
Yeah. So they are the economic development arm of the city officially.
I need that information. Is that information public, or how do I get that information?
What information?
For, like, you know, the building, the economic development plans for the city. Like,
So that kind of was laid out for us in the Albany 2030 plan, and I can get you the link. I think it's still up. It should still be up. It's a public document.
Yeah, we need that link.
And so basically they going through, and the land bank is a part of that, their revitalization plan. Again, it was just, you know, so important for me to say, like, look, these properties are here because they are looking to revitalize these neighborhoods. They don't necessarily care if we're a part of that process.
And that's bad.
Right.
Because I come outside, I'm like, I wake up, all these white boys on the job. Like, not even no races. It's just like, end of the day, this community is us killing each other, right? And the same way you said, I was one of those people that used to hang on the stairs until I got property. I owned the property now. So then I came back on the stairs like, all right, people, how'd you get that property? So now I'm trying to advocate for it. It's like it's blocks there. So you're looking like how'd you slip through the cracks? Me, I happened to get mine through the last auction in 2014. They had an auction process.
Yeah.
They used to have at the Times Union Center, right? They stopped that process
and they replaced it with the land bank.
Replaced it with the land bank.
Yeah.
So now it's like blocks. So I think I was like one of the last people to get properties from that auction at the time, right?
Yeah.
So I did the refi, and I got another one. But now I was trying to tell people the process of that. But now it's like, all right, how can we get these properties when they want a resume, they want your whole background, they want to know how you walk, how you talk, how you.
Right. So I think that's also important. I keep going back to the community engagement piece because understanding the process is one thing. And officially, part of my official language is that we replaced the auction process, but truthfully, in many ways, we just made it more responsible, if you will. So the documents that the land bank is asking for is the documents that the bank would ask for.
Okay.
The same documents that you would really submit to secure a mortgage. But so yeah, the community engagement piece is important because we telling people we replaced the auction, and it's like kind of sort of what I'm saying, because really when it came down to the decisions, a lot of decisions was like, well, this person got the most money, or this person's gonna put more investment into the property. So in essence, it's kind of like you making me do more work when I could just go to the auction block and say, yo, I got this money in my pocket.
Bid on it.
Yeah. So again, so I'm happy they are like kind of trying to turn a corner with everything going on. I feel like a lot of companies feel like we have to support Black lives. This is what's in, quote unquote. And I think is especially a company like the Land Bank, they quasi-government, they're small, and for the most part, they're directing their own narrative. I'm to be frank, I dealt with people that didn't get properties that came back 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and they're like, well, Virginia, like, what am I supposed to do? I'm like, you have a county legislator, you have a common council person, you have a state representative, and then more importantly, you have the press. The land bank the land bank is creating their own press, and obviously they're not gonna create bad press for themselves. Right. But so many people is going to the land bank, they qualify for all intents purposes, they're not getting through. You got to start making some noise.
Right, and that's kind of why we came up with this show like this, so we can really start putting a directory together. We start building with each other, and we start putting things together, because even like the brother said, and I believe that if we come through as a group, it's better than just coming through individually. Right. Even if we had to, pool in together for one property and do it one at a time, and get a whole block.
Right, and so that's kind of the idea around the Building Blocks Fund is that, a lot of people don't have the resources, essentially, credit, cash, what have you, to get these properties. But as a community, that's almost like, it's like kind of crowdfunding that's going to grow up. But as a community, we all put in and we say, look, we as a community funded this property. Like you can't deny that. Right. And you come to the table. You got the construction resources. You got me and Irv on the real estate side. I have access to people who are housing counselors. So there are Black real estate professionals and they are accessible. It's really just how we kind of access them in a way. But also utilize them. So they're there, but we have to also utilize them. So
and then even sometimes you have some people there and they don't say nothing, because they getting the check, So it's like, you might have a person in position and they're not gonna say nothing because you might mess with their check. You might be involved. They might get fired or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be quiet. It's not affecting me, so I don't care about anything else until I get mine. I'm saying that's the mentality we have. But at the same time, we kind of like we putting blocks on ourselves. Yeah.
I mean, especially right now, I think with everything going on, you kind of got two different narratives. You got Black Lives Matter and Respect Our Life, and we need rights and we need new legislation and funding. And then on the other end, you see the spike that we just had for 4th of July, Memorial Day weekend, and then it just kind of flips the narrative, and it's like, well, look at the Black on Black crime, and it's like, I don't want to justify it and I don't want to dismiss it, but if you're gonna bring up Black on Black crime, make sure you bring up that these very communities where the crime rates are so high are the same communities almost exactly that were redlined. That were historically redlined and not too many people know, and I know Irv touched on it a little bit. essentially they're still being redlined.
Right.
SEFQ, M&T, like some of these banks, they don't want to lend to people that's in these neighborhoods. The property values are low. So then you have people that are cash rich, essentially, coming in, doing subpar. Some of them are doing good rehabs. Most of them are just getting it enough to squeeze more money out of it. Right. So you just want to just utilize your resources. I think that's the most important thing, but also look at everything, like holistically what's going on. I know like the land bank is a large, they do have like a lot of real estate, again, throughout the county, but there are other options to get property. Right. So there's the traditional market.
What is that? What's the traditional market?
So traditional.
You got to break it down for people.
Yeah. So the traditional real estate market, like you go on Zillow, you go on Redfin, you see a house, you have your agent. Listen, I'm interested in this house. You set up a showing, and that would be like the traditional route. And in that case, obviously, you need to be able to qualify for a mortgage.
Well, you got to have your credit.
Your credit got to be good.
It got to be what, 6?
Don't quote me on the numbers. So typically, pre-corona, for FHA mortgage, you could get an FHA in a 640, 660. Okay. You want to do 670 if you can, just to get the best rate. Okay. Or 700 better is typically conventional mortgage.
Okay. And say my credit is shot, right? How would I go about it? Like, is there any people you got in mind that does like credit repair or experts?
Yeah,
to get you to where you need to be at.
Yeah, so that's another thing, and that's why I'll go back a little bit. So coming from the land bank, I was just like, like there's so many properties. None of these people like have money. They have credit issues. Right. They have this issue, that issue. I'm like, damn, like, well, what can I do, right? So essentially, Building Blocks was created to give people, and the workshops are always free, to give people that basic homebuyer 101, bringing all the real estate professionals to you. Okay. So like I mentioned, you have a housing counselor, and I got this from Trip, and I just kind of just went around the real estate world a little bit up here in the capital region, but housing counselors, they're going to help you rebuild your credit or establish credit. Okay. They're going to help you get that savings plan together. Okay. If you don't want to go that route, support black businesses, you got Sean Moody, who does credit repair. Okay. And that's on the private side, so you're paying him, but
they're all a part of Building Blocks.
No, so these are just different networks that I've come encounter with, and that I just use. Okay. And I have these people come speak at the workshops because people are like, a lot of times people are like, they get denied for the land bank property, and I'm like, I don't like, at the time I was just like, there's city grants, but the caveat with the city grant is that you need to own the property before you could get approved for the property, which is like, what? I need the grant to get the property.
Right.
So, you in that perpetual cycle. So I think me personally, you want to utilize your resources, and that's why it's so important for me to bring those resources to you. So the mortgage lender, key people that you're going to come in contact with through the traditional home buying process, the mortgage lender, real estate agent, inspector, attorney. And I would even say credit repair, again, you could go private side. You have Affordable Housing Partnership, which is in this building. Technically, they are housing counseling. You have TRIP over in Troy. That's housing counseling. You have Better Neighborhoods. Inc., I think, out in Schenectady. So there's Tri-City resources to get property, to acquire property.
And those names you named, those are the people that help you fix your credit so you can be...
Yep. So those housing counseling, essentially... I think housing counseling is, I would say, 6 months to a year out. You're like, maybe I want to buy a house. Like, you look at your credit, you're like, oh, can't buy a house right now. Right. Like, what should I do? Right. Go to the housing counseling agency. They're going to sit down with you. They're going to meet you where you are. Okay. So if you at a 540, they're going to, do, like, again, credit repair, dispute letters, all of that stuff. Okay. Then, you have the private side, which is, like, the nonprofits that's doing it. Then you have Sean Moody that's doing it.
Okay. And if anybody else that's watching this that knows some people that do repair, y'all could add on, too.
Yeah, so honestly, like, the more resources, the better. And then something else that I kind of involved with is NACA. Let me get I've got a couple notes. Okay. I think it's, what is it? Let me see. NACA. So, Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. And I'm actually going through the first-time homebuyer process with NACA right now.
Okay.
But I'm also kind of like trying to plan my purchase around grants that I know are, rolling out.
Yeah,
So you just got to kind of be strategic and utilize your resources. So NACA, they're not really looking at your credit. I don't have perfect credit, but essentially they want to know that you're a responsible, responsible steward. So do you pay your rent?
And what is NACA? What's their mission statement?
Essentially, I think their like slogan is America's best mortgage or something like.
You gotta pay attention to that camera, man. I'm
just
telling
about to
Bow,
get
man, get the effects.
I
Don't
was
get
about to
them.
get up.
I'm joking. Yeah, so NACA, you just explained about NACA.
Yeah, so I think their slogan is like best mortgage in America, something like that. They do have some basically their premise. They have roots in economic justice, economic housing justice specifically. And again, so some of the perks for NACA: no down payment, no closing costs, no points or fees. They also give you the option. They work with you through the process, and they tell you basically how much you need to bring to the closing table, but if you have some extra cash on hand, you could buy down what they call buy down your rate. So, you might be coming in at, 3%, and you have some cash on hand, you could buy it down to 2%.
Oh, nice.
So, there's also that option. I would say right now, I'm pretty sure NACA and the traditional market in terms of interest rate, it's probably the same with coronavirus, kind of just flipped everything.
Right.
So,
So since that, has it been harder, since the corona came, has it been harder to get a mortgage now? Or?
So, yeah. If you and I can't stress like how important credit is. Like credit is, if your personal credit, your business credit. As soon as Corona hit, obviously I'm watching to see what's going on in the real estate world. They raised the credit score, the requirements for the credit score for the FHAs. Remember I told you typically it was 640, 660 range. Minimum right now, a lot of banks are looking at 670.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that went out. Even some people with the coronavirus SBA loan, the federal assistance, they can't get federal assistance because they don't got good credit. So so your credit is really important. You want to build up, your personal credit if you can. Build up your business credit. Just give yourself options, and you want to put yourself in the best position.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right. So yeah, we definitely want to look into that NACA, and then you said the land bank, so they put you back on the board.
No, I'm not on the board. So basically, yeah. So it's a little subcommittee. Some community members. Irv is on it. Myself.
So what does that give you the ability to do?
So essentially, again, they're claiming to want to get and sell properties, get it in our hands specifically. And so I want to give y'all, I'm not giving them anything new, but I want to be at the table where you are making these decisions. If you want to rewrite the policy or adjust it in some ways so that it is more equitable, or you're giving those people who have been systemically discriminated against, almost like what other people would consider a leg up, but really it's just almost even the playing field to give them that access to, okay, I can own a property, I got access to wealth, because a lot of people, like you said, they get the properties, especially the investors, fix it up, do the cash out refi, and keep going like that. So, if we can't even get in the door to get to the point of getting the cash out refi, it's kind of like, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. Yeah.
And I definitely, I'm a strong believer in, if you give some of the community members these properties and keep them busy, that would definitely bring down the crime rate in the city.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Because you're busy. Like if you're working on a property, you run around all day, you tired. You don't want to be running around chasing nobody and doing nothing crazy. Like
Right. So honestly, they talking about the crime rate. You hear a lot about the crime rate, but they're not saying anything about the unemployment rate. Right now, we're looking at unemployment rate that's likened to Depression era times, and it doesn't feel like it
because we got up every day.
Yeah, more people still still applying for their first claims, but it doesn't feel like it because we got the Apple Watch, you got the iPhones, you got the AirPods, we got so many stuff to quote unquote distract us. It doesn't really feel like it, but the truth is these people are not typically in urban neighborhoods. These people are not killing people just because for insurance money. They're not doing those type of crimes. They really it's really, I need this. I need to survive. Either you on this corner or I'm on this corner. So, you really got to take that into consideration. So, again, people who got the construction background can easily get 2 or 3 land bank properties, or even like HUD properties or pre-foreclosed properties. Get the young guys, even females, if they're into it, give them something to do, put some money in their pocket. And again, it's going to start to change just the attitude of how you interact with your neighborhood, how you interact with your neighbors. You're saying hello because you live here now. This is permanent. This is yours. Somebody drops something trash on your property that you fixed up. You're not gonna be like, oh, well, it ain't my crib. Exactly. I'm just renting. Like, nah, you're gonna be like, nah. Let me pick this up. You see something in your neighbor's yard too. You might be like, all right, he ain't saying nothing, but let me just grab it. I'm out here, right? So,
we gotta bring the community back into we gotta bring the unity back into the community.
Right.
The neighbor back in the hood,
right? Right.
It's like all the neighbors are going now. It's just hood now. It's hard now, right?
Right.
So we got to do that. So what's the mission of the building blocks together fund?
Again, so the mission is to basically acquire enough funding to again kind of do what I'm talking about right now. Buy a property, get some young guys, put a construction team together. Have them do the property for cheap, or just really pull on my resources to revitalize these properties. Again, some people might not have access to it, the funding or the resources. But if there's community buy-in for this fund, it's really going to be community properties. Because building blocks will own it, but I don't want 1,000 properties. You could then flip it in a way and almost liken it to the land banks model and say, all right, they're not selling us properties. Maybe I have an in with the land bank. I can get land bank properties for cheap using this fund. You get the get the little rehab program together or whatever, and then sell it. Do rent to own model. Have somebody, or just you have a tenant. They've been there for 2 years, and they're like, yeah, I'm interested in home buying. And then you're like, oh, okay, all that rent, that's yours. Down payment, you good. And I could do that as a private, private person. The land bank probably is not going to be one to just cut the price, cut the losses. But at the end of the day, Building Block's mission is to create Black home ownership. So whether that's through the fund, whether that's through workshops, whether that's just me talking, beating people in the head with my real estate talk, it's important. So I don't know if Irv touched on this, but So Albany County is second in the nation for the largest disparity of home ownership between Black and white in the nation, right? So that's where the conversation about the land bank becomes important, because it's like, wow, we second in the nation in disparities. According to the neighborhood, y'all not selling specifically to us. But then again, it goes back to a wealth thing. People look at you different when you're a taxpayer. Pulling up on your elected official. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a constituent. I need you to sit down and listen to my issue. Real estate for me, and the way I view it, honestly, especially with the multi-unit property, you have some extra income, or you have a couple investment properties, you have some extra income. Now you got to tie everything together. Everything is political. Everything is political, right?
So what would be your solutions to the blocks that we're facing right now, right?
Right. The solutions, do not give up on the land bank. Okay. If you go to the land bank 100 times, go 101 times. Go 102 times. And like I said, you got to start using your resources, because, again, if it's 30 of us or 50 of us or 100 of us that's going to the land bank and they're like, nah. And it's like, wait, hold up. All of us don't have credit problems. All of us don't have. Some of us have access to credit. Some of us is contractors. Some of us is investors. So, I would say one of the solutions: keep going out the land bank. You're not getting the result that you want. Utilize your resources. Again, you have elected officials that represent you. They're in meetings with Adam. You see what I'm saying? Building blocks for me was really out of the need that I saw working at the land bank. Like, people people saw that the house was 5,000, but they really had no idea what the home buying process was. So that's why building blocks to me is almost like a solution, because I'm bringing you the home buying process for free. So now you can't say, well, nobody told me that I was supposed to go to this organization or that organization. So I'm bringing it to you.
So these land bank properties, when you buy them, are the taxes and everything paid off?
Not all the time. So, typically, yes. The land bank is a nonprofit organization, so, they hold it tax-free. But sometimes there's like a transfer period where taxes do accrue from the county to the land bank. And that obviously falls on the buyer. So I would anticipate to pay something, like at least a water bill, some type of tax bill. Associated with the property, then in addition to, obviously, the rehab that needs to be done.
Okay. So pretty much, what's the likeliness of you buying the property from the land bank and you buying it tax-free?
If you have a nonprofit organization, I think under that structure, you could buy it and hold it tax-free. Okay. And from I'm not inside anymore, but from what I remember, they're pretty lenient when it comes to nonprofit organizations. So if that's the route you want to go, I would say that's a real option. That's a real solution.
What made you leave? Did you leave, or is it? I gotta ask you that, right? What made you walk away from the land bank?
Yeah.
Right?
So.
I won't put you in the spot.
Listen. Kind of similar what Sir Irv said. Like, literally, every day it got harder to go into work. And I think you could ask my sisters, my friends.
Irv said he felt like his heart was broken when he saw people, do everything, put up their tax money and everything, and still get denied. He said, so for me,
I would literally, complain about the land bank off the clock, all the time. People were like, yo, gee, leave your job. I'm no, they need me, because if I leave, who's advocating for these people? Who's going into the community saying, yo, these are properties, blah, blah, blah. So for me, it just it came down to it. It was just hard for me, ethically, morally, to essentially not lie, because I would put people on game. I'm not gonna front, but for the overall process, I feel like it was just harder for us. It was way harder for me personally as a housing services counselor who's actually sitting and meeting, talking with these people multiple times. Sometimes I would meet with people for an hour, 2 hours out of my day.
So what was your day like? You had to help with the applications, walk them through the paperwork that they need to get done.
So some people, so literally some people came in, application done, 1, 2, 3, boom. A lot of us, they're like, yo, can you, what does this mean? The enforcement mortgage. They have an enforcement mortgage on the property, so I had to explain that. And then, all right, application's done. What's next? But I think for me, and there's a lot of times I met with people, and I was like, look, you're not ready. Don't even waste your time, because the funding wasn't there. Some people, I would try to fudge the application a little bit, if they had some funding. But they uncle did construction, they had a plumber on deck, they had an electrician on deck. I was like, all right, you could probably make it work. But some people, they would really have $5,000 in the bank applying for a property that was $25,000 plus the rehab. And some of those properties could be upwards. I've seen people put $70,000 some of those properties. So for some people, I would just tell them yo, you're not ready. And then I was trying to, also what was frustrating for me is, again, the grant situation is city grants. You're essentially quasi-government. You kind of working hand-to-hand with the city for other stuff. Why can't y'all figure out how to match this funding? Even if you're giving the funding directly to the land bank, something needs to get done. I see how the grants work or could possibly work for traditional real estate that's turnkey ready. But in terms for the land bank, it just doesn't work. And then it's for me, they would bend for certain people, but they wouldn't bend for us. And so for me, that burn, I'm advocating for these people, and then not for nothing, like I just said, Albany County's, second largest disparity in the nation, and every time, the land bank get in the paper, it's oh, Albany County is the largest, and it's like, why you keep repeating that?
Right.
Right? Like, why you keep repeating that statistic if you're really not actively doing something? Because if it was my company, if I had the land bank, I'd be like, yo, look, everybody getting rent-to-own joints, right? This is how we're going to set it up. We're going to get the construction team. So there's enough people that's, black-owned construction companies in the area. You're going to work on one house. You're going to move down the block, do it like that. And then you're going to just pay me every month. It ain't my company, see?
But your company that you have right here, what you plan on doing with the building block,
fun.
You plan on doing that.
Yeah,
right?
Something similar to that. Yep,
so in a couple of years, we should see Virginia Rawlins, doing the rent-to-own.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully I'm trying to get things in order.
You got the knowledge now. You've been in a position now.
Yeah, I got the knowledge.
I believe that we in positions for a reason, right?
Yeah.
I've been in jobs where I got fired, I got, terminated, whatever, I left, but it's like I got the knowledge of being there, and it was like I was put there for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you put there for a reason. You're not put there to stay forever. You're not,
right,
you're not going to retire there. So it's like, all right, while I'm there, I got the knowledge that I need to know to carry on and to move and to empower my people, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes if things are not changing, we have the ability to change it, right?
Right. So I kind of almost have the mind frame, like when I go into these companies, like I said, right now I'm the only black person on staff. Again, the board is predominantly white. My real mindset when I go into these companies is to learn a formula and flip it.
Absolutely.
Like building blocks, or anything that I'm doing with building blocks, I'm not reinventing the wheel at all. I'm literally just everything that I've learned in the last 5 years within the buyer side real estate realm. I just combined it.
And you've been in Troy, Schenectady, and Albany?
No, so I worked at the Albany County Land Bank, and then I worked at TRIP and Troy processing the housing grants. But I know just off relationships that and Alex, shout out to Alex, she's going to be on the first homebuyer seminar, our housing services counselor, so thank you for that. But I know, these entities are there, but again, people aren't aware because the community engagement.
How about with the action? What is it? Community? You say citizen action? No, not citizen action. The other company you say you was involved in.
So I was at Albany County Land Bank, TRIP in Troy, and right now I'm at Capitalize Albany.
Capitalize Albany.
Yeah.
That's citizen action. That's Amy Jones. Shout out to Amy Jones and them too. Capitalize Albany. Are there access there for like community meetings, for like the community development meetings and stuff like that? Because is it true that sometimes if the community stand together and is a voice to say, all right, hold on, you can't put that in this community right here. This is not needed in this community. If we come through as a voice, is it the people that has the power to say, all right, now y'all can't just send people from all over the community. We have to together. We have 1,000 people right here that want to work. Y'all can't just bring people from West Bubble, you know what I'm saying, to come over here and work in this community, right? We have to have our own workers in this community. We have to have our own carpenters. We have to have our own contractors in this community, right? Our own businesses and everything like that. That's pretty much what defines a community, right? What defines a community? A lot of people don't know what a community.
I mean, what you said right there, like everybody playing their position, everybody playing their role, what they can contribute to the table and add to the discussion. Even with the Fight for Black Lives, you have me that's doing real estate stuff, but you have people that's out in the street, that's marching. You have people that's literally feeding the community. Shout out to Eva Bass. So you have these people that's already in these positions. And to be honest with you, I think Albany, sometimes the people in Albany get in their own way. I think sometimes people feel like they're in competition with each other. In reality, everybody, there's enough space for everybody. And then, like I said, everybody's kind of doing different things, but everybody has the same mission of giving back to the community.
And it's funny that you say that, because I feel like sometimes we so busy competing with each other, we missing the real what's going on in the real world, right? Because like, we could be fighting over this little corner store, but then it's the whole store over here. It's a whole store in the whole city. It's a bigger store. That's what I'm saying?
So again, like you have people fighting over territory, one that they don't even own. Just start the bare basics. Like you don't even own it, for real. And then then when you come to the table to like a land bank or something like that, then you're like, damn, they kicking me. I'm trying to like scrape together literally my life savings right now. And they're telling me no, like, and they just told him and then they just sold this guy 10 properties. Like, what am I missing? Like, what am I doing wrong, right? But sometimes you need those people like me and Irv on the inside. You know, you don't have to, again, you don't have to stay there, but learn the formula, spit the game out. Like, I think also a lot of people, they don't want to do the work for them, for themselves, really. And that has to change a little bit. But I think when you have people like myself, people like Irv, people like Eva, like, you're bringing the services to people.
Right. You're building the community.
Right, you building the community, you bringing the services to people. But, you know, just different things. You know, my whole thing is, again, like I told you, like, if you get denied from the land bank, go back.
Okay.
Because if you fail once and you
Okay, 10 people. Okay.
yeah, so if you fail once, are you going to quit? Like, if you really want to own a property, like, the land bank said no, but, I mean, I know now I have this resource too. I was watching this. Now I know BNI and Schenectady has housing services counseling, or Troy, or even Albany, and I'm going to say, forget the land bank. I'm going to just fix my credit, go the traditional route.
Okay.
Or, again, you have things like NACA, like, where they don't have credit requirement. Like I said, I don't have perfect credit right now. I met with the NACA housing counselor. She told me how much I was going to bring to the table. I need to bring to the table what I need to do, like just certain documents that I have to keep submitting to them.
Okay.
And then I'll get, you know, a property through NACA. And like I said, I'm kind of on game working for TRIP. I know certain, like, when grants is coming out, I'm aware of the various grants. So I'm kind of like, I want NACA's low interest rate. I want to stack all the grants that I can. And then just do it like that.
Okay.
Almost be like a poster child.
So when it comes to the real estate thing, can you give me your word that I could reach out to you if I have any questions or any strategies to get through? Or because Irv gave me the same thing. I said, give me your word that I'm not gonna call you. You know, because he was hard to reach. You know, Irv is hard. You know, Irv is Irv. You know what I'm saying, it's my brother.
I'm gonna say, yeah, Irv is. Everybody's like, yo, is Irvin at Wall Street? I'm like, what's good? Like, where's Irv at?
Yeah. So,
I'm like, listen, I'll take care. I'll take care of you.
So you give me your word that I can reach out to you. I can have people call you, reach out to you. They can reach out to you, and we can start building this community that we need to be seeing.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. Because, like, I'm a real estate agent. You know, I obviously have building blocks to promote. That's my baby. But ultimately, everything, and I think Irv is a real estate agent with the mindset of getting properties back into the hands of his people. You know, he's willing to go into certain neighborhoods that other agents, like, I'm not going to that neighborhood. If you want to go over there, you can show yourself the property. But definitely, like building blocks to me is a resource for people. Like, do you know a credit guy? Do you know a lender? Do you know another agent? Do you know home inspector? Do you know, just different people that you're going to meet throughout the home buying process?
So somebody from scratch, don't know nothing about real estate, don't know nothing about buying properties, they can call you. You can walk them through your baby step and walk them through the whole.
Yeah.
That's your word, right?
That's my word.
You heard it, right? You heard it, right?
Yeah.
So if you got any questions on real estate, you need to get some properties, get into this land bank, right? And I'm gonna come to you because I need to get back in the land bank too.
Yeah, listen.
So
I tell a lot of people. Yeah, I tell a lot of people. If nothing else, I'm a vessel.
Okay.
I used to be before I got into real estate. I was at the state assembly, and all I did was research.
Okay.
So everything I get into now, I'm just like, well, let me do some research. So like, yeah, so. Basically,
very empowering for our people. Like even the OGs that been through it, like they regret. They used to get a bunch of money. My cousin used to get a lot of money back in the city, back in Harlem and stuff. And a lot of OGs regret not getting land because with land you could do so much with land and property. You could do so much with, and the empowerment is official. Like everybody own the property, everybody own the city. It's like it's different. They look at you different because now you get to make the laws in the land.
Yeah, right? And like I was starting to say earlier. Everything is political, right? So for me, it's important that, especially in Albany, Albany County, where the second largest gap, it's important that we close that gap because there's so many specifically black real estate professionals at all different levels, agents, housing service council, lending, home inspection. Like we literally have people in every single area that we need to touch. If we go in the traditional route. So for me, there's no reason why everybody shouldn't own a property.
It's a fact. Even if you could refer some people to the show, we could sit down and we could talk. Because it's been going on for years. It's been going on for years. Even the brother, I put up a post. I saw a post. Somebody put up a post. The brother, I think Macho, he put up a post. It was like it was a speech from Martin Luther King. And he was saying that, you know, we need to get these properties after the protests and after all the march. I'm tired of march. I used to do the march. I'm tired of march. I want to see some results.
Yeah.
So after that, he was like, all right, we need to get some of these properties, get some of this land. Next thing you know,
I'm gonna say when Martin kind of deviated from the let's be peaceful protesting to that economic justice, stop talking. Essentially, we don't need you to paint Black Lives Matter on the street. We need resources. The youth need programming. There's again people that's really coming out their own pockets to, you know, feed the community. You have me with building blocks. I'm like almost like two different jobs right now. Trying to kind of get people this basic knowledge of the home buying process, whether that what's a deed, what's a mortgage, what, you know, how long is the process, things like that.
And it's crazy because our society is so systematically twisted. It's like when we talking about situations like things that we need to be talking about, no one really listens.
Yeah.
But if you up here twerking, everybody getting crazy, throwing money out, everybody got the attention. That's how they got us so twisted right now. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, honestly, if you're not looking to buy property, cut that, dead that. Everybody needs to buy property. Everybody needs ownership. What we talking about right now with the larger movement, Black Lives does matter. But what our downfall is, we're depending on them who created the circumstance to come fix this circumstance. They're not going to do it, right? So if everybody owns property, you own one, you got one that's a rental, now you got extra money coming in, now you know somebody that's running for city council or running for mayor, election's coming up next year. So then you feed it into people's campaign and they get elected. And it's like, they can't really, like, brush you off. Like, nah, bro, I got you elected. Right. We, as a collective, we got you elected. Like, we put our dollars in. We did the petitions and all that. So I think you start to have different conversations. And you do get a different level of respect when you come to the table with some power. I know a lot of times we had the blackout day, I think the 7th. Not celebrating July 4th, not, canceling this, canceling Goya, canceling all this stuff. But it's like, dollars talk to them.
Absolutely.
If you saying that, if their CEO is saying that there's no racism in this country and that cops are doing a good job or, whatever the issue might be, and you disagree with that, and you pull your money from them, they're going to change their stance. I don't think it's by mistake that, especially, so first of all, with the death of George Floyd, I think this is the first time in history in America, as far as I know, that corporations made it a point to say, oh, Black Lives Matter. Right. We need to amplify these voices. We need to support them, but not really, again, like not the painting the Black Lives Matter on the street, but with dollars. Right. You have a lot of, even Capitalize Albany right now, they're hyper-focused on MWBEs and getting, grant funds and different funding into their hands. Because that's just a new thing.
You're in Capitalize Albany now.
I am in Capitalize Albany now. Yeah.
So I can reach out to you because I'm trying to get involved in Capitalize Albany. I called the other day because, like I said, I was trying to find out, who has the economic development plan for the city.
So I'll forward you that. Again, it should still be on the website, but it's the Albany 2030 plan. Like I said, everything that you see happening in the neighborhood, what's happening on Clinton, it's not a mistake that they're not selling property. That's what I'm trying to tell people. It's not a mistake that they're not selling property to us. So they plan to revitalize the neighborhood. They just don't want us reaping the benefits of it. They want us to continue renting.
So when did this plan come together? Because I heard, I do my little research. So I heard this is like a $32 million project, a $20-something million project, and the guys are coming from Rochester, not even from the city of Albany.
Yeah. What's the organization? Home Leasing.
Home Leasing. They're in this building too.
But listen, peep this. And this is how people really don't know. And a lot of people are like, why should you always have these, white organizations? Because this is where they're making the moves at. Home Leasing bought a couple parcels from the land bank, and now they're coming through the IDA, which is Capitalize Albany, to get tax abatements.
What's the IDA?
Industrial Development Agency.
Okay.
So essentially, Capitalize Albany, they're not really like a community organization. So they're really like the economic development arm of the city. So the Albany 2030 plans, they're looking for projects that's going to revitalize one of the downtown specific areas that they care about.
So they trying to turn us into like Harlem, the old
Yeah,
Harlem. Right?
yeah.
So this is the place to be right now.
This is the place to be. If you're thinking like, oh, I don't want to own a property, I don't want to do that. Even if you and your homegirls, your homeboys, go all in just for a property, and y'all just have that investment property, that 2-unit or 3-unit, just on the one side. Even if you want to rent, which I don't know why you would, but that's you now you're putting yourself in a position for not only economic freedom, but now you later down the line as you get the collective together, now you have political pull. Yeah.
And when you say political pull, you mean as far as like explain that.
So when I say political pull, I mean like just knowing the political process, right? Like campaigns cost money, right? So if we have leaders that's been in their positions for 20 years. Somebody is funding them. They're not going to be the incumbent. We're now putting them in a position to be that voice for us while we're in there.
Gotcha.
Right? So, and then I think people, they get comfortable too. Like, oh, this person is black, this person is Democrat. No. What is their voting record? Right? So you have to start to look at things like that. I shared this article a while ago, but a lot of black elected officials come in. They come in with that tenacity. They come in like, we about to kick down the door. Right. And then they get committees. They get a little,
get a check.
Yeah, you get this, you get that. And then,
house with the picket fence. And,
exactly, right?
Fluffy dog.
Right. So, their priorities change. Or, you have the Nick Cannon situation where the higher ups, they literally silenced him, right? So I've seen, a lot of people at the assembly, elected officials, they don't really go too far left because it's like, all right, I want my bills passed, right? Or I want to get a subcommittee, right? Because that means a little extra money. But just knowing those different things, if I put you in office, I got petitions signed for you, I'm advocating for you, I've donated to your campaign. When I call, I'm the constituent that I want to talk to you, right? You see what I'm saying? So now I got you in office and you said that you was for black, quote unquote, black lives, or you said that you was progressive, but your voting record doesn't say that. You've been in office now 10 years and nothing has changed. The community hasn't changed. You said you was going in to revitalize, to be our voice at the table. What happened? Now you got to get out. We put somebody else in. And that's collective economic power. Like down in D.C., they got PACs. Like that's, just money funneled into, support their candidates. They use their jobs, the corporate tax cuts that they get, that they hoard, and put it in those PACs and put people in those positions that they know is going to advocate for them.
What, the Chocolate City, they call it?
Yeah.
Everybody getting money out
there.
Yeah.
So, you got to kind of know, know your power. But again, and I'm not trying to say like, there's not discrimination or, they're not redlining in these neighborhoods because they are. And that's just the reality of it. But you can't let that deter you from getting what you need. Because to be honest with you, right now in the national election, we don't have nobody for us, right? Not truly. So I mean, people hate Trump, right? And he's
Kanye,
right, and Kanye, right? And he's they're by no means like ideal candidates, and neither is Biden. But they're like, oh, we need to get Trump out. But he's Democrat. Yeah, and so are a lot of the cities where the crime rates are through the roof. There's poverty, there's homelessness. These are Democratic ran cities. So now you got to start to ask yourself, like, are we just voting Democrat and because they're black, or like, do they really represent what they say they were going to represent, right? So for me personally, I see real estate as a way to kind of just influence that, or if you will, fund that, and just give yourself a power. Like again, money talks. Like again,
Absolutely.
Corporations for the first time again, like from my recent history, have acknowledged that Black Lives Matter. They're getting rid of the old Disney movies that clearly been out there, been racist.
So right now is the best time to capitalize.
Listen, right now they feeling guilty.
Get it done.
Yes,
right? Get it done right
they
now.
feeling guilty. So yeah, right now is definitely the time to listen. Black Lives Matter. I'm black. I got my little company. That's what I'm trying to do.
Kicking the door now.
Can you fund this?
Right.
Nope. All right, next person. Can you fund this?
Let's go. Right.
Yeah. So you kind of have that attitude going into it, because they know, because there's a lot of companies too, like, oh yeah, we're gonna donate to a fund to support, but notice how no company has, or very rarely has, the big companies specifically said what
they donating to,
what they donating to, and who they donating to. So you might be donating to a company that says they're advocating for Black lives, but it's white ran, right? Versus a company who's saying that, or organizations saying that they advocate for Black lives, that's Black ran.
Right.
It's a big difference, right? So now you really, again, like, just funding and wealth and just resources, you're really pushing somebody who otherwise will be under the radar to the forefront, to the spotlight. So, you just got to be strategic. For me, that's kind of what I'm trying to do, and just be strategic in your moves, really. You never want to be, like, complacent. Again, so, certain things are still happening. The land bank is still an issue. Like, we're not going to pretend just because they have the subcommittee that they're about to just, no, they still have to be accountable. Right.
I was going to even say, even the people that you may have ran into, that even the people you may have contact to, that they denied too. Maybe we all get together and start holding them accountable, right? You denied us. No, let's go together now, right? This person won, this one person won as well. So let's go together, then see the results from that. And then we start putting it out there. Like, that's why I came with this table like this. Let's have these talks that start bringing some change to our city, you know what I'm saying?
Right. And that's what I said.
The revolution must be televised.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Don't give up on the land bank, because, like you're saying, they can't deny all of us, right? And then at a certain point, it's gonna look crazy.
Right. If they are doing that.
Yeah. If you are, because now we have almost like setting them up, like, for the kill, right? So you send in 100 people and only 2 people get approved. It's like, y'all bugging over it. Like, what's going on inside there where only 2 Black people are getting approved for properties, and I purposefully sent credit qualified people, contractors, people that have experience rehabbing properties. Why are these people getting denied? Because that's going to be a little harder to explain away, right?
So if y'all watching this, y'all need to get some land bank properties. Let's all gather up and get it one by one. They can't deny us all.
Yes, gather up, get land bank properties, fix your credit. Credit is so important, not only for properties, but business credit is important as well. You could leverage your business credit to get properties as well, and hold it under the business, and then you have the different business structures, and it has different tax implications like that.
There's so much we don't know that they try to keep hidden from us, and sisters here to let us know what's going on, enlighten us. So definitely reach out. Anybody got any questions on this? No questions. Any viewers?
Well, we got viewers, no questions.
Okay, they watching. Okay. So so like I said, if you're interested in owning instead of, decline. If you're interested in owning instead of renting the properties, something you can leave your children when y'all pass on, or whatever the case is, it's insurance. Like, definitely get involved. Get involved. Get involved. Like I said, I want to definitely get involved with your building blocks committee. And I'm gonna definitely be hitting you up, because I want to, like I said, I want to stay on top of the land bank, and I want to get some more properties and stuff like that. So I'll definitely
So like you said, use me as a resource. I mean, you can go through the interview and see that I have a lot of different connections. I know the grants pretty well. I personally was completing the grant applications. I know the land bank very well. I personally was working at the land bank. I'm a real estate agent now. Building Blocks is my company, and it's really just pulling all that knowledge together in one, and making it accessible and free to the community who might not even be aware that they want to buy a property, because they just that's just not something that they just think, oh, that's not for me, and it's like, no, that is for you. And let me show you how. And then you have NACA again. They're not requiring the perfect credit score. They're literally meeting you where you are. So the land bank is an option. Then you have NACA. You have the traditional real estate. You have the HUD foreclosed homes. You have pre-foreclosed homes. Individual buyers for sale by owners. You could always hit the owner up and kind of work with them one-on-one to get a good deal. Even in those situations, if you don't have like the funding, you could do a deal basically where the owner of the property, basically you're paying him monthly, so almost like a rent-to-own type joint, right? But then, you know, the Building Blocks Fund is kind of what I just recently launched with my latest workshop announcement. But ultimately, we really want to replicate the land bank and be that resource where people can say, all right, I donated to this Building Blocks. They copped 2 properties or 3 properties. They rehabbed it, or they got some market properties. They pulled in some hard money lenders, some private investors.
But when is this on? It's coming up.
Yeah, so it's next month. It's August 19th, 6 to 8. It's virtual. It's on Zoom. You don't have to.
My birthday.
You don't have to leave your crib. So
what day is that on? That's
Wednesday. It's a Wednesday. So you really, I mean, honestly, you don't have no excuse. It's free. So I'm trying to make it as easy as possible.
It's virtual. It's a virtual link.
Yep. I can
find a link.
You can find a link on Building Blocks page. You could go on my page personally, Virginia Rawlins.
I'll put the link up.
I posted up. Yeah, I'll send you the link so you have the link. Okay. The flyer. I literally just like put everything together today, so I'll send you the flyer. I'll send you a whole lot. Okay. But yeah, for sure, definitely use me as a resource.
Absolutely.
I definitely want to put you in touch with, again, there's other black real estate professionals that's already out here that got years on me in this game, right? So
you can refer them through, and I'm saying I want to stay in contact with you, so I want you to come through the show. Let me know what your progress is on. What you update me on. Moving forward with this mission to replicate or to move forward like the land bank is moving, but put more people in a position of our
So again, acquiring a property is one thing, but then we also spoke about creating our own economic development, right? So again, like the problem is, and that's kind of where I'm standing, is like you can't ask these systems that put you in these positions purposefully through laws, legislation, pulling out funding systemically to then turn around and say, yeah, we did that, but here you go. We're going to fix it for you. Right. No, they're not going to fix it for you. Like, yeah, they're fixing up Clinton Avenue, but there's a stronghold on the property. You still can't even get in the door through the quote-unquote cheap way, which is a land bank, right? So you have to, listen, if you could scheme and steal and rob and do that just, on the regular, you could finesse the system. Finesse the system.
They've been doing it for years.
Yeah. They finesse the system legally all the time. And you're like, hold up.
But you see,
so
morally, everything get exposed.
Yeah.
Morally, the right happens to win over the wrong regardless. So if we do it the right way and we start getting our people in the right positions, I think we're gonna be the outcomes because we're powerful people.
Yeah. And then
we have to fix us.
Right. So. Kind of what I try to live by too is my signature, my personal email. Be the change. Be the change that you want to see. And for me, I have again all this real estate knowledge, access to all these real estate professionals. Like, why not bring them together for you for free? Absolutely. So just kind of any information that you get, each one teach one type of deal. Like they say all ships rise together, but something with the Building Blocks Fund, literally we would be rising all ships, investing in, the community. Hopefully we can grow it to where we have access to large amounts of funding, and maybe we could give people money to go buy a land bank property or give people money for their down payment. Really, the possibilities are endless if the community supports, right? So that's why it's called Building Blocks Together, because we got to be together to build these blocks, right? We are technically in these neighborhoods. They pulled out the funding, but they left us.
Fund ourselves. There's so much going on right now.
Right. That's
all these little group fundings and boards and everything going on right now.
You got GoFundMe's for to take a trip to Miami.
Right.
You got GoFundMe's for just things that don't even matter. But the Building Blocks Fund is essentially a form of GoFundMe. I do want to formally transition that into crowdfunding. But I do want to give people the opportunity to literally buy the block, give them that opportunity to access their real estate. Or if they don't want to, do it themselves, you have other people that want to do it, right? But when we revitalize our neighborhoods, when we fix our neighborhood, it's called revitalization, right? When they come in and do it, we see it as gentrification, right? And then kind of flip the narrative and say, well, gentrification is not bad if you're controlling it. But it kind of the verbiage changes a little bit. It comes revitalization because you're doing it as your neighborhood, as your people. So, and for me personally, if, everybody come together, support building blocks, and we get that funding together, this donation, like, I don't,
How much are you trying to, like, what's the vision? What are you trying to get? How much are you trying to get?
So right now,
goal?
The initial goal right now is to raise $5,000. And realistically, when you're talking about real estate, that's a drop in the bucket, right? But that could be the difference for somebody getting a land bank property or not getting a land bank property, right?
And what are you gonna do with the 5,000?
So I haven't thought about that yet. I do want to acquire property, so I think that's going to be my first thing.
Okay.
Looking to get a cheap property, politic with the land bank a little bit, right? You got use that in to say, yo, let me get something on the arm and let me flip it back and let me show you what I do with it. The community is essentially buying this property from you right now. It's not builder blocks, but it's the community.
It's the community as a whole.
Right, because it's the community's fund, right? And then again, now we amplified our voices. We've pooled our money together. And if they're telling us no as a community, so that's going to look really bad on them, right? So not only are we saying that we're coming together as a community, but we're backing it up with our dollars, right? And then if they're like, oh, no, they try to give you ring around the rosy on that, it's like, I'm going to the press, bro.
Right.
Yeah, like, I'm going to the press. Like,
Exposing.
yeah, just honestly, like, when you...
Going live.
Yeah, like, when you create your own solutions and they are, like, actively trying to hinder you and creating solutions for yourself, for your people, that's going to look way bad on them, right? So then you got to, like, leverage your connections. You got Black Press, the GNN, you got a few other people that's been covering the protests. Use those people for some things like the land bank. Yo, I went to the land bank 12 times. They told me no every single time.
I think I'm going to bring him in next. I'm bringing brother in next.
And I know for a fact that, y'all selling property to investors to, they got 10 properties for the land bank. How come I can't get one, right? So, so the first step with the Building Blocks Fund is to acquire property. I would love to implement some type of, like, youth program and a cool little rehab program. I'm not a construction manager, but again, we have those. We got some resources, right? So now we got you. We got ownership. We got buy-in in the community, and we're creating our own economic development. So there you go, 2 prongs solutions, right?
Absolutely. And
solutions that's coming from us, not solutions that we begging for.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So we're gonna wrap it up. We don't want to give them too much game. You know what I'm saying, but as a sister of Virginia Rawlins, I appreciate you coming to our show.
Thank you. I appreciate you definitely inviting me. Yes.
Now remember, they got Wall Street. We got all streets. All right.
Yes.